we are going to take a look back at the ups and downs of guitar in 2023. Then we're going to use what we've learned to move forward like never before. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome, friends, to this episode of the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and this is the podcast that's determined to make you a better guitar player. No matter if you're just starting out or you've been playing for years, this is the show that will help you become the guitar player that you always wanted to be. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and check out the description for all of the links from the show. So welcome. One of my goals for the new year is to always keep you up to date and always have something going on. Something going on for listeners who would like to get involved more than just the podcast. It could be a course I have, or it could be something interactive and special, maybe at the beginning of the year. Maybe that's a hint. But right now, between now and then, I have brought back my Solos That Make Sense bundles. And this is for players who struggle with improv, people who struggle with playing lead guitar, writing guitar solos. It's a big problem. And I have my best trainings all together for the holidays. You can get both my chord tone targeting course, that's Solos That Make Sense, and then my 3 best lead guitar masterclasses, that's all together in Unlock the Thrills of Lead Guitar. Both of them together just for $57. That is way over 50% off and not always available. And so you just head over to the link in the description, or you can just go to playguitaracademy.com/Solos That Make Sense bundle. How was 2023 for you and for your guitar playing? We're just going to do a little hanging out today. I've done these at the end of the, close to the end of the year for a few years now. And this is for the hardcore listeners. Those people kind of come in and go out around the holidays. They're not, it's just us here. So I thought I'd share something with you that I do for myself. And that is trying to put closure on the year so I can regroup and start fresh. And the new year's the best time to do it. You get a little extra motivation. You've got a little energy from all the food you've been eating for the past couple of weeks, right? But I look back and I say, well, how was this year for me? How was it for my guitar playing? How was it for your guitar playing? And I asked the fine folks over at the Play Guitar Facebook group here, said, looking back at 2023, how was the guitar for you this year? David says, the guitar I tried to use the most was my PRS Silver Sky. He's been trying to improve chords and transitions, and his Ibanez still sounds better. Ernest shared a whole lot of stuff in the big post, but at the end he said, now I pick a guitar up every day now. I may play the same things over and over again, but every week I try to play more of a song or songs than before and learn a new song as well. And so he's really been picking up the pace there this year. Way to go, Ernest. That's awesome. I said, I'm putting together my end of the year episode right now. I've had a very positive outlook on guitar this year for me, which wasn't always the case for the past few years. Jason said he's had continued progress this year. He is not done with this thing yet. Awesome. Lauren says, I mastered the solo I was wanting to learn, which was Lazy by Deep Purple, and then memorized 4 classical guitar songs. So I'm happy. Awesome. Way to go, Lauren. And then Chris says, plenty of refinement and increased understanding and tons of enjoyment, with the big old thumbs up right there. So yeah, a lot of positive things have been happening in guitar for members of the group, members of our list here, members of the Academy. Been noticing that all across the board. What would you say about your experience with the guitar? This is an interesting year. We're settling back in. This is like our first normal year, right? We're settling back into normal. We're actively living our normal lives again, right? So we're back at it. Now it's the end of the year. We've been doing it for a while, and it was great in the beginning. Everything's going good, but is everything as normal as you remember it? Can you remember before all these things started happening to us over the past couple of years? Things are a little different right now. I think a lot of people are looking for some of that normalcy, and guitar can give that to you. That, like I always said, the guitar is the one thing that's always there. It's always been there for me. so sitting down and practicing your guitar and working on things and working through it has been good for me. I've tried different ways of fitting in practice with all of my crazy schedule that I've got going on. Right now, I'm settling at the end of the night before I go to bed is when I've been practicing. And I've been going back over songs that I used to think I knew, but now that I'm going back, I missed a whole lot of stuff when I was doing them. So I've been playing some songs before I go to bed. It's a fun time. But let's take a look here at the year in guitar. We've lost a few folks with some serious guitar players, some very important people. We lost Jeff Beck this year, Jimmy Buffett, Bernie Marsden. We lost Robbie Robertson, Randy Meisner this year, Gordon Lightfoot, Tim Bachman, Gary Rossington, David Crosby, a ton. And there's a lot more. These are the ones that I have links to a lot of the pages that I've opened up here. If you're looking on YouTube, I'll be sharing all of the different pages that I've been going back through to 2023 and checking out. And this one is from Billboard, Gone But Not Forgotten Musicians We Lost in 2023. The links will all be in the show notes there. Another thing that I've noticed about 2023 is the guitar is dying. Guitar music is dying thing is coming back, which is ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Usually this is talking about pop music. I, for one, could care less whether the guitar's in pop. I don't listen to pop music. That's not my, it's not something that I really care about. When I was growing up, it was a great time that guitar music and pop music were they kind of combined for a while there. So we were getting some really, really cool stuff, but it ebbs and flows, you know? We had, when disco came out, guitar music is dead. It's all going to be, all these different things. And then you had punk music come in and just completely destroy that idea, right? So this ebbs and flows. There's some wonderful guitar music, wonderful people playing the guitar this year. It may not be reflected in the well, and we'll go through that. I'll go take a look at those charts too. But and it's not just older music, although we'll talk about classic rock in a minute. But there's some great music. The Warning. Let's see here, Tim Henson. A bunch of different, very creative, very different musicians that are using the guitars as the centerpiece of their songs is all over the place here. I'm sure you've got a whole bunch that you like too. I'm just happy that, we have some people who are pushing forward a little bit. I think it's really cool. Tim Henson's really interesting with a very weird mix of styles and a lot of effects on his guitar too. Really, really cool stuff. Classic rock has been being discovered by a lot of people. Now, when I was growing up, the music that was older was called the oldies station, right? The oldies station. And it was hard to listen to. A lot of it. It was very different than the music that what now is called classic rock was on the radio at the time. It was more 50s music, doo-wop music, that kind of stuff, and on back for there too. But now, the music that's kind of the older generation music, classic rock, is not really as far removed. In fact, in some ways, a lot of people would say is better than the music that's being played right now. There's a lot of reasons that could be. One of the ones that I believe is because of the music business is different. We used to have people who would find our talent for us, like John Hammond would find Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Elton John, those type of people that you would never hear now, who would never get a shot at being put on the radio. We're being actively cultivate. They were given money to grow and grow into the person that they were going to be. It was a really good time there. Well, now we don't really have that, but we have other things that are maybe even better than that. But you have to go other places other than go in your car and turn the radio on to find this music. One of the things I noticed this year, that when I'm going on, YouTube or something like that, is an abundance of what's called reaction videos. A few years ago, you'd see this. I think the first one I saw was a guy in the guitar teacher reacts to this, or guitar teacher reacts to that, one of those kind of things. That got me into the reaction videos. But you're seeing all sorts of people now who would never be exposed to some of the music that we just take for granted because we've known it our whole lives. And it's really fun to watch these reaction videos. It kind of makes you realize just how good some of this music was that we grew up with. Let's go. Actually, this is Wikipedia, but it's a list of the Billboard 200 #1 albums of 2023. So this is the pop music, right? This is not rock music. This is not stuff that you go into Spotify and just listen to. This is the big stuff, the pop music. What's the big pop music at the time? Is there any guitar in it at all? Well, as you go down, Taylor Swift once, Taylor Swift twice. There's Zach Bryan. So some guitar-based country music there in the top there. And let's see what Taylor Swift again. And then Taylor Swift again. And Blink-182 of the top albums of 2023. So the guitar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's, if not maybe 40% of the top. What is this? The top 20 here. And let's see, of the #1 artists of the year, guitar is still in there. Taylor Swift is in there. Zach Bryan is in there. Let's see, who else? Blink-182 again. And then Olivia Rodrigo, I've heard has, I listened to a video where someone says she has some guitar in there as well too. So there's a lot of guitar still being used in pop music. It may not be, maybe getting less and less, but it's still in there. It's definitely not dead yet. But recorded music aside, for 2023, the big thing for a lot of us has been concerts. The concert lifestyle is back in full swing. So let's check out the top 10 concerts from 2023. This one is a Deadline link. I'll have that in the description too. This is the top 10 concert tours of 2023. #1, Taylor Swift. So the singer, songwriter, acoustic guitar, of course there's a lot of dance stuff in there too, but it is in there. Bruce Springsteen at #3, 379 million this year. Coldplay at #4. Harry Styles. Let's see. Ed Sheeran. How about that? Ed Sheeran's right up there. And let's see. And that's so what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 of the top 10 are guitar-based bands or artists that are headlining the top concerts. So guitar is still in there. It's not dying. It never will die. It comes and goes. It comes in and goes out. I remember when the burnout was happening of like the 80s metal into the 90s. And then you figure, well, it's going away. That was another time. The guitar's done. It's going away. And then grunge came in and then bam, it's all back. Just guitar in a different way. But as far as guitar players at the top of their game, the big guitar players, Eric Clapton this year, John Mayer, Santana, Metallica, the Crossroads Festival was back this year. Albert Lee, Buddy Guy, Vince Gill, Sonny Landers, they're all over there. Kiss had their final performance not too long ago. Now they're going to be avatars. They're going to be cartoons from here on out. That's awesome. That's awesome. But Joe Satriani and Steve Vai are getting together and start to play around there too. There's a lot of great concerts to see. So if you're like me, where I get kind of defeated with my guitar playing sometimes, going to see a good concert with someone who is at the top of their game really is inspiring to me. And there is plenty of that around. On the other hand, there is something, let's see, where is the word? This is Loudwire. Worst concert is trending. So people are sharing what their worst concerts are. And there's a whole, everybody shared all the different worst concerts that they've seen. So, for the past couple of years, we were just happy to have a concert, right? Much less complain about the worst concert that we've seen. And there's a bunch of rusty ones out there that are going on too. Let's talk about guitar gear in 2023. So let's see here. The year in gear. This is, let's see here. I'm going to go over to Reverb, and let's start off with guitars. Best-selling guitars of 2023. Number one is David's guitar, the PRS SE Silver Sky. For a few years, it's been like this. So this is not this is not a $4,000 guitar. I've seen them from 500 up to what are they up to about 700 between there. Fantastic Strat style guitars. The next two are players, Fender Player Strats and Fender Player Telecasters. The next one is a Fender 2, American Pro 2, Professional 2. Next two are Les Pauls, the standard 60s and 50s. We're back to the American Pro 2 Telecaster. The full number 8 is the Silver Sky, not the SE version, the full PRS version there, which is, not a cheap guitar, and in the top 8 there. That's awesome. So Paul Reed Smith is coming in. Also the SE24. I won't go through all these. The CE24 are all in there as well too. Overall best-selling guitars of 2023. What I thought was interesting is the amount of Strat style guitars in here. We've got 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 20 are Strat style guitars. So that's very interesting that that's coming back. That hasn't always been the case. So let's take a look at acoustic and what was kind of new in 2023 for acoustic guitars. And this is something that I experienced firsthand. I was down at Disney Springs, and they have lots of different musicians playing, and there was a girl singing and playing acoustic guitar, and I thought the acoustic guitar sounded great. I was like, I need to go over there and find out what she's playing. And she was playing one of these Fender Acoustasonic, is that what it is? Telecaster, thin line acoustic guitars. And it sounded fantastic. And I remember when Fender had tried to do this several times before, they never sounded that great. And it sounded so nice. And that's been out for a couple of years, but they also have now the Highway series, which is kind of like that, except for it has more of a traditional acoustic look to it, not trying to look like a Tele or a Strat there, but they still have the Fender headstock, the Strat headstock. It says selling for $999.99 each. Lots of nines on that one. So for me, the fact that those kind of hybrid electric acoustic guitars could sound so good was a lot for me. But I know there's a lot of people who are more into acoustic guitar than I am, who know a lot about a bunch of different things that are going on right now. And if you want to share those, head on over to the Facebook group. That's where we're talking about this episode. For 2023, for amps. Now, this is very interesting for me. Let's head over to the best-selling pedals and amps of 2023. This is another Reverb one here. I'll go down to amps. Where's the amps? Here we go. Number 1, the Spark 40. Okay, I got it. I know about that. Number 2 is the Boss Katana 50. Number 3 is the Yamaha THR 30. Was it 2W? I don't know what this. Top 3 modeling. How about that? So to me, the modelers have finally settled in this year. I've been using modelers since the Line 6 stuff started. I had one of the Flextone heads I was using on stage. And they've come a long way, but it's come so far now. It's very hard to tell the difference between, modeled amps and then real amps right now. So it's not so much of an all or nothing kind of thing. So a lot of people, I play here with the Boss IR 200. So I can go direct here and it sounds fantastic. So, but Tone Master Deluxe Reverb, I think that's the one has modeling in it that looks like a deluxe reverb. There's another Katana in there. The Kemper Profiler stage pedal, which I'm very interested in. There's a lot of cool stuff in here with all of the regular amps as well too. So modeling has really come full circle, and I'm glad about it. There's places for amps. I've got amps, I love them, and there's places for these things too. It's just two different tools for the same thing. And pedals. Let's take a look for the pedals. Now this I thought was very interesting. This, whenever you're going to see how the economy is going, look for pedals. They're going to show you. So what do we got here? In pedal, the number one pedal this year, Boss DS1. You got to be kidding me. It's here it is. Here's mine right here on my board. And wow, they've been around here for a long time. I can't remember them when there wasn't a DS1, right? Number two, Boss BD2. Then we have the Keeley Compressor Plus. Then we have the Line 6 HX Stomp, which I have the M9, which is kind of the precursor to that one. And then a Boss Tuner, the TU3. As I look down, there are some other classic pedals in here too. The Proco Rat 2, the Boss SD1, the Boss Equalizer, the GE7, the Ibanez Tube Screamer. So in the past, there's been some very, very expensive pedals that people were just wanting to get. Now it seems like people are gravitating more towards the more affordable classic pedals like the Boss and and the MXR Carbon Copy was a great delay too. That's pretty cool. Let's move on to learning guitar. What about learning guitar in 2023? Has there been any big changes? What have you thought about the things that are available for you, how you've learned? What are the things that you would like to learn in 2023? If you're still here, if you're one of the folks that picked up the guitar during the pandemic, if you are still here and you're still working at it, this is a good sign. Most of the people who were kind of looky-looing and dipping their toes in the water with this are long gone at this point. So if you're still working at it, this is something that's going to stick with you. What I've learned from teaching a lot of people in 2023 is that the little things have had the biggest impact. The little things, little changes in your technique, little changes in your picking, little changes in the way that you think about things. These stumbling blocks that we have sometimes are from like very small things, so small that we don't pay attention to them. If you're trying to play something on the guitar and you can only play it maybe half speed, you say, I can never play that at the regular speed that people are playing through that. It could be something very easy about how you're holding the pick or how you're holding the guitar or the way you're sitting. All these little things that you wouldn't think about. Of course, what you're thinking about is metronome and playing these things. Then that's all good. But the little things this year, I've been really excited helping people. This was in coaching mostly. I had someone the other day saying that's why we're doing coaching, because I just noticed something in their playing. We changed it in 3 seconds, and then all of a sudden the person was out of the hole that they were in and could play something and smiling and said, that's it. That's why I'm doing coaching right there. Those little things. So the little things for 2023 are what have mattered most to me. How about what I've observed in people, what people are interested in, what people are needing to move forward? With lead guitar, it's been chord tone targeting. So a lot of people have been interested in that. We spent the past couple years working on lead guitar, trying to think of the guitar neck as a whole, not just one pattern here and one pattern there. And then the logical next step for that, most people are getting that by now. The logical next step is chord tone targeting, making these leads that we're playing sound good. Well, why does everything sound like it doesn't have a point, that it's aimless when you hear your favorite guitar solos and they have a definite reason to be, right? How do we do that? Chord tone targeting gets you there easily. If you can really master that, then you'll be in control of those things. So that's something that I've tried to bring up in the academy and in courses and those things to go to that. Finger style is another thing too that was really big this year. There's a lot of people really interested in finger style. It could be like the Tommy Emmanuel style finger style, or more, Travis picking and those kind of things. So that's been really big. I've been doing a lot of that in my coaching. Another thing that I noticed this year is people interested in embellishments. I think it's because we've done a lot with chords over the past 2 years. People come in, they pick up the guitar, they want to learn all their chords, then they go to bar chords. Now they're to the point where they can hear. My ear is developed enough to hear that someone else's chords, even though I'm playing the same chord, they sound different. Why do theirs sound different? Maybe better than mine. Why is that? And embellishments is a big reason to those chords. So that's been a big thing. I tried to reflect that in some of the courses that I did this year too. So the last thing I'd like to take a look at is your life. I want you to take a look back for me. Maybe over the holiday in the stressful month of December, once the holidays have gone and we're gearing up for next year. If you have a night off, just sit back, maybe get a piece of paper and a pencil out and take a look back at 2023. How would you describe your playing at the beginning of the year? Think about January. Think about where you were. What are the things you were frustrated about? And right under it, right, how would you describe it now? So what are you playing? What are the things that you're focusing on? What are the things that are difficult for you? What are all the things that the songs that you learned throughout the year? Did you think that you could be able to play the things at the beginning of the year that you are doing now? What's the difference between those two? Number 2, what are the concepts, the things that you can do now that seem like you may have always known how to do them? Isn't that how it always goes? You don't know how to do something. Finally, you learn how to do it. And it's like, you've always been doing that. Oh yeah, that's easy. I know how to do that. Well, no, it's some of those things at the beginning of the year. What are those concepts that you didn't know at the beginning of the year, and write those down. And the last little thing I'd like for you to do is write down how you gauge your enthusiasm for the guitar. How enthusiastic were you? How excited were you in the beginning of the year? And has that translated throughout the year? Has it gotten better? How is it now? Write down how that is right now. Then take a look at that paper and think about how far you've come this year. I'll bet it's a lot farther than you think. So I'm going to call this 2023 a great year, although not a normal one by any means, but a great year for guitar. And there you go. I've got my closer for the year, and I hope you do too. And I am ready to take some downtime over the next 2 weeks and refresh and start to plan ahead for a healthy, fresh start, which I'm going to be helping you with here on the podcast as we get there. Remember that I have my Solos That Make Sense holiday bundle. It's only $57. The link is in the description, or you can just go over to playguitaracademy.com and you'll find it right away. And I'm going to call it. That is a wrap. Thanks for joining me today in 2023 for the Play Guitar Podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. And if you have benefited from this podcast, please leave a favorable Apple Podcasts iTunes review. It is the best way to make sure we get this very valuable content to more guitar players around the world. And if more help, structure, and results in your guitar playing sound good to you, what are you waiting for? Play Guitar Academy is here. You can join us over at the Academy and take advantage of the most carefully planned guitar system. And together we will build your online home base for guitar. Thanks again. We've got one more episode before the new year. I will see you next time.